Across the northern lights of Norway, where icy winds sweep across fjords and mountains, a quiet transformation is taking place. For generations, Norway has stood as a symbol of equality, independence, and progress. A nation where women thrive in education, careers, and personal freedom. Yet, beneath this surface of modern success, an unexpected story of the heart has begun to unfold. In recent years, thousands of Norwegian women, many in their late 20s to 40s, have been rethinking what love, companionship, and family truly mean. They are among the most empowered women in the world, living in one of the happiest nations on Earth according to the United Nations World Happiness Report. But happiness, as it turns out, is more complex than economic security or political freedom. Norway's women enjoy everything society promised them: equal rights, safety, opportunity, but a quiet loneliness has started to grow within that freedom. Across cities like Oslo, Bergen, and Trondheim, surveys show a decline in marriage rates and a rise in single-person households. According to Statistics Norway (SSB), nearly 1 in 3 Norwegian adults now lives alone, one of the highest rates in Europe, and many of them are women, successful, educated, self-sufficient, but feeling disconnected from the emotional intimacy they crave. While Norwegian men are often described as kind and respectful, the country's dating culture has evolved into something distant and cautious. People rarely approach strangers in public. Dating apps dominate social connection. Romance has become a structured digital transaction, efficient, polite, but often lacking warmth. In this quiet gap between success and solitude, a new curiosity began to emerge. Norwegian women started looking beyond their borders, exploring other cultures where family, affection, and emotional depth still held central value. And among all the countries they encountered, one stood out: the Philippines. At first, it might seem like a surprising connection. Norway, a cold, highly developed Scandinavian country, and the Philippines, a tropical developing island nation thousands of miles away, couldn't be more different on the surface. But when Norwegian women began interacting with Filipinos through travel, social media, and cultural exchange, something extraordinary happened. They discovered warmth, not just in the tropical sun, but in the people. The Filipino spirit, kind, expressive, deeply family-oriented, offered what many in the West had lost. Filipino men, in particular, were admired for their patience, humor, and emotional availability. Unlike the more reserved Scandinavian approach, Filipino affection is open and genuine. Compliments are sincere, smiles are constant, and love is not something to hide. Many Norwegian women were moved by this contrast. They found in Filipino men a kind of sincerity that felt rare back home, men who still believed in romance, who valued loyalty, and who saw relationships as lifelong partnerships, rather than temporary arrangements. According to relationship researchers in Europe, cross-cultural relationships have risen by more than 40% in the past decade, driven largely by global connectivity and online communities. And for Norwegian women, many first discovered Filipino men through international forums, language exchange apps, and travel groups. It starts innocently, sharing photos of nature, recipes, or traditions. But soon conversations deepen. They talk about family, life values, and dreams. The women are surprised by how naturally Filipino men open up about love, faith, and commitment, subjects often treated with caution in Norway. The Philippines has long been recognized for its strong English proficiency, ranking among the top in Asia. This makes communication effortless and heartfelt. Norwegian women who already speak excellent English find comfort in being able to express themselves fully without barriers. But beyond language, there's a cultural rhythm that connects them. Filipino men are raised with deep respect for women and elders. They are often the emotional anchors of their families, helping care for parents and siblings, and ensuring harmony in the household. To Norwegian women, many of whom grew up balancing independence with emotional restraint, this sense of familial closeness feels like a missing piece of something they've longed for. Many Norwegian women describe it as a rediscovery of tenderness. Back home, love is often private, almost hidden behind politeness. But in the Philippines, affection is everywhere. Families laughing together in open streets, couples sharing meals under palm trees, neighbors helping one another without question. It's a culture of care. Filipino hospitality plays a major role too. Foreign visitors are treated like family. When Norwegian women travel to the Philippines, They experience this firsthand. From being greeted with smiles and offered food before they even sit down, to being called ma'am or ate with respect, they realize how deeply kindness runs in everyday life. What begins as admiration for the people often becomes admiration for the men who embody these values. Filipino men are known to be expressive but not aggressive, confident but humble. They make women feel seen and appreciated, often through simple acts, sending good morning messages, remembering small details, or showing care in thoughtful ways. Norwegian women, who are used to relationships where emotional expression can feel muted, find this genuine attention refreshing. It's not about grand gestures, it's about consistency, empathy, and presence. Some sociologists explain this phenomenon as a form of emotional migration, when individuals from colder, more individualistic cultures are drawn to communities where emotional warmth is part of the collective identity. It's not about economic advantage or social convenience, it's about finding balance. Norwegian women bring confidence, education, and independence. Filipino men bring empathy, devotion, and family-centered values. Together, they complement each other in ways that feel natural. It's a connection that transcends geography. And while traditional gender roles are shifting globally, Filipino culture has adapted uniquely. In many Filipino households, men take pride in supporting strong, independent women. They don't see a woman's success as a threat, but as something to admire. This perspective aligns beautifully with the values of Norwegian women, who have long fought for equality and self-determination. In interviews conducted across international matchmaking and travel communities, many Norwegian women cite emotional compatibility and shared faith as reasons for their attraction to Filipinos. The Philippines remains one of the most Christian nations in Asia, and although Norway is largely secular, there's a growing spiritual curiosity among younger generations. They see in Filipino men not just religion, but humility, gratitude, and moral depth, qualities that many feel are fading in modern Europe. But this isn't just a romantic idealization. The growing number of cross-cultural relationships between Norwegians and Filipinos is reflected in data. The Norwegian Directorate of Immigration, UDI, reports an increase in cross-border marriages involving Filipino nationals over the last decade. Many of these unions are initiated online, through friendships that blossom into love. Technology has become the bridge across continents. With social media, messaging apps, and digital communities, two people separated by 10,000 kilometers can now share daily life in real time. For Norwegian women, often surrounded by physical beauty but emotional silence, the digital warmth of Filipino communication feels like sunlight after a long winter. This emotional connection also thrives because of shared human values. Both Norway and the Philippines value peace, respect, and compassion, but they express them differently. In Norway, peace comes from order and structure. In the Philippines, it comes from laughter and resilience. When these two cultures meet, they create a harmony that feels balanced. Discipline meeting joy, structure meeting heart. Norwegian society is one of the most advanced in the world. Yet even in this success, many women report feeling isolated. A 2023 Norwegian health survey noted that nearly 25% of adults under 40 experience loneliness at least once a week. For a culture that values independence, this statistic has become a quiet concern. Filipino culture, by contrast, thrives on interdependence, on being part of something bigger than oneself. Family is never far away. Neighbors are friends, and strangers are often treated like relatives. It's this emotional closeness that Norwegian women find profoundly healing. Many express that what attracts them is not just Filipino men's affection, but their values, patience, optimism, faith, and humor. Life in the Philippines isn't easy for everyone, yet Filipinos have mastered the art of joy. They smile through storms, find hope in hardship, and always believe in the goodness of people. This attitude, known locally as bayanihan or communal unity, reflects a collective strength that contrasts with Norway's individualism. For Norwegian women, who often shoulder emotional burdens alone, being part of such a community feels liberating. Another key factor is how Filipino men treat women. In traditional and modern Filipino culture, women are deeply respected. Men are raised to protect, provide, and emotionally support their partners. Gender equality is evolving in its own way, rooted in partnership rather than competition. This makes Filipino men particularly appealing to Norwegian women, who want equality without emotional detachment. And yet, this trend isn't driven by fantasy, it's driven by shared humanity. As global travel resumes and digital barriers shrink, Norwegian women are not only visiting the Philippines for tourism, they're exploring possibilities for connection, understanding, and love. Many start with curiosity about the culture, the food, the beaches, the music, but they end up discovering something far more meaningful, a sense of belonging. Because in the Philippines, love isn't rushed. It's nurtured. Relationships grow through time, family involvement, and shared experiences. The idea of forever isn't outdated. It's still believed in. For many Norwegian women, this feels like a return to something timeless. Back home, modern dating often emphasizes freedom from attachment. But in the Philippines, it's about building a life together, one where love is celebrated publicly, family is honored, and emotional loyalty matters more than material wealth. This redefinition of love, grounded in simplicity and sincerity, has captured the hearts of women across Norway. It's not just about finding a partner, it's about rediscovering connection in a world that often forgets how to care deeply. As these relationships grow, they also reshape perceptions. Filipinos are no longer seen only as friendly people from a tropical paradise. They are seen as emotionally intelligent, loving individuals who value depth over superficiality. And for Norwegian women, that's exactly what they've been searching for all along. When Norwegian women finally set foot in the Philippines, the first thing they notice isn't the heat or the humidity, it's the smiles. From taxi drivers to cafe servers, from children playing in narrow streets to grandmothers waving from porches, there is a lightness in the air that feels contagious. In Norway, silence often fills public spaces. In the Philippines, it is replaced by laughter, greetings, and conversation. For many Norwegians, this warmth feels like stepping into a living heartbeat. They quickly see how family sits at the center of everything. On weekends, streets fill with people celebrating birthdays, baptisms, or just being together. There is music, food, and stories that never seem to end. In a society where generations live side by side, love is not hidden, it is lived. Norwegian. Women watch fathers cooking, brothers carrying babies, sons helping their mothers. These small gestures, repeated daily, reveal why Filipino men are known for their caring nature. In interviews with travel sociologists, many foreign women describe Filipino men as emotionally intuitive. They know when to listen, when to give space, and when to offer comfort. This emotional intelligence comes from growing up in large, interconnected families, where empathy is a survival skill. For Norwegian women, accustomed to emotional restraint and minimal public affection, this open expression of love feels like a rare gift. But these cross-cultural relationships are not without their challenges. Language barriers, time zones, and cultural nuances can test patience. Norwegians are punctual and direct. Filipinos are flexible and gentle. Yet, these differences often become sources of harmony rather than friction. The Norwegian emphasis on honesty balances with the Filipino talent for diplomacy. The Filipino joy of living balances the Norwegian sense of structure. Together, they create relationships that are both stable and spirited. Many Norwegian women remark on how Filipino men value conversation. Instead of short replies, they share stories about childhood memories, family traditions, faith, and hope. In a world where small talk dominates, these deeper exchanges feel refreshing. They help build trust slowly, layer by layer, until affection becomes genuine friendship and then something stronger. A growing number of Norwegian women now travel to the Philippines through volunteer programs, digital nomad opportunities, or long vacations. Tourism data from the Philippine Department of Tourism show a steady rise in European female visitors. Over the past 5 years, with Scandinavia among the notable contributors, many arrive to explore beaches like El Nido and Siargao, but leave with an appreciation for something intangible: the sincerity of Filipino hospitality. Social media plays a quiet but powerful role in connecting hearts. Facebook groups, travel, forums, and language exchange communities bring Filipinos and Norwegians together daily. It starts with curiosity about culture and quickly shifts into shared experiences. Singing karaoke online, cooking traditional dishes together through video calls, exchanging photos of snowy landscapes and tropical sunsets. These digital spaces blur the borders that once separated continents. For Norwegian women used to orderly cities and predictable routines, the Philippines offers a taste of beautiful chaos. Jeepneys packed with passengers, street vendors shouting prices, roosters crowing before dawn. life here moves to a rhythm of spontaneity. And within that rhythm, they find meaning. There is joy in simplicity, in fresh mangoes shared on the porch, in children playing barefoot after rain, in conversations that stretch late into the night without schedules or agendas. As relationships blossom, both sides begin learning. Norwegian women teach punctuality, planning, and independence. Filipino men teach patience, gratitude, and humility. Over time, they meet halfway, planning with flexibility, speaking with both honesty and kindness. It becomes a dance of cultures, one leading, then the other, always in tune. Experts note that these partnerships thrive because they are founded on shared respect. Neither side tries to dominate. Instead, they value what the other brings. Norwegian women appreciate that Filipino men are hardworking and family-oriented, while Filipino men admire Norwegian women for their determination and fairness. There is no competition, only admiration. Economic differences sometimes raise questions, but genuine relationships prove that love cannot be reduced to financial exchange. Norwegian women are among the highest earners in Europe. They are not seeking wealth. What they look for is warmth, authenticity, and shared purpose. Filipino men, often raised with fewer resources, compensate with emotional generosity and loyalty. The balance of material stability and emotional richness creates relationships that feel whole. Religion and shared moral values also form bridges. Even as Norway becomes more secular, many Norwegians retain a quiet spiritual side, a respect for faith, compassion, and honesty. In the Philippines, these values are lived openly. Churches fill every Sunday, prayers precede every meal. Norwegian women often find comfort in this visible devotion, seeing it not as dogma, but as sincerity, a daily reminder that gratitude still matters. One of the most touching aspects of these unions is how families react. In the Philippines, when a foreign woman becomes part of a Filipino family, she isn't treated as a visitor. She's treated as kin. She's given a local nickname, served traditional food, invited to every gathering. Norwegian women often recall being moved to tears by the openness of their partners' families, the way mothers embrace them instantly, how fathers insist on cooking their favorite dish. It's affection without conditions. Back in Norway, friends and relatives sometimes react with curiosity. They wonder how such different cultures can connect. But when they meet the Filipino partners, skepticism fades. They see men who are kind, polite, and genuinely devoted. Over time, these love stories challenge stereotypes and build bridges between two nations that rarely crossed paths before. The emotional transformation for Norwegian women is profound. Living in or frequently visiting the Philippines reshapes their view of happiness. In surveys, Norwegians rank among the happiest in the world, yet many admit that joy at home feels quiet, almost private. In the Philippines, joy is loud, shared, and unfiltered. Even small things, a simple meal, a family sing-along, become celebrations. Many women describe feeling emotionally alive again, as if warmth had returned to their hearts after a long Scandinavian winter. They also notice how Filipino men handle life's challenges. Instead of complaints, there is humor. Instead of stress, there is faith. This resilience, the ability to stay optimistic even in hardship, deeply impresses them. It's an attitude summed up in the Filipino phrase, bahala na, which means trusting that things will work out. For Norwegian women used to meticulous planning, learning to embrace uncertainty becomes liberating. Another aspect that draws them is community. In Norway, independence is cherished, but it can lead to isolation. In the Philippines, belonging matters. When someone is sick, neighbors visit. When someone succeeds, everyone celebrates. It's a collective spirit that makes loneliness almost impossible. Norwegian women, touched by this togetherness, often reflect on how society back home could learn from such genuine human connection. As these relationships mature, many couples decide to settle either in the Philippines or split their time between both countries. Those who choose the Philippines adapt to a slower, more relational lifestyle. They trade snow for sunshine, solitude for laughter, and form families where two cultures blend seamlessly, where children grow up bilingual, kind, and globally minded. Sociologists studying transnational marriages highlight these unions as examples of cultural complementarity. When traits from different societies enhance, rather than conflict with each other. The independence of Norwegian women pairs naturally with the nurturing nature of Filipino men. The result is balance, neither dominance nor submission, but partnership. For the Philippines, these stories quietly reshape the global perception of Filipino men. Long depicted mainly as workers abroad, they are now being recognized as compassionate, family-loving individuals capable of deep emotional connection. For Norway, they showcase that love can exist outside conventional Western frameworks, that emotional richness can be just as valuable as material success. The phenomenon also reflects larger global shifts. As technology collapses distance, people increasingly seek values over geography. Norwegian women no longer restrict their search for companionship to their hometown or even their continent. They seek emotional compatibility, shared goals, and mutual respect, qualities that Filipino culture offers in abundance. Filipino men, in turn, are drawn to the authenticity of Norwegian women. They appreciate their honesty, their work ethic, and their clarity in communication. They find beauty not just in appearance, but in character. Together, these two groups discover that love doesn't need perfection. It needs understanding. The rise in cross-cultural unions between Norway and the Philippines also encourages dialogue about what modern relationships should look like. They challenge stereotypes about East and West, about gender roles, about wealth and status. They show that the foundation of a lasting relationship is not nationality, but kindness. Every story of connection adds a thread to a growing tapestry of global understanding. From fjord towns blanketed in snow to sun-kissed islands lined with coconut trees, these bonds prove that love can bridge any climate, any culture, any distance. And perhaps that is the real heart of this trend. Norwegian women are not abandoning their culture. They are expanding it, bringing together the best of both worlds. They bring with them independence, integrity, and curiosity, and in return they receive warmth, devotion, and joy. It is an exchange of hearts across hemispheres. In time, some of these women choose to marry in the Philippines, blending traditions, a Norwegian bridal dress beside Filipino barong, vows spoken in English with accents from both North and South. Families gather from both countries, united not by language, but by love. These ceremonies become living symbols of connection in an increasingly divided world. As they build their lives together, challenges remain: paperwork, visas, distance from extended family, but couples who persevere often describe their bond as unusually strong. They have already crossed oceans to find each other. No obstacle feels too great. Researchers point out that marriages built across cultures require patience and adaptability, but they also report higher levels of mutual respect. Both partners must listen, learn, and grow, creating a foundation rooted in effort and empathy. Norwegian-Filipino relationships exemplify this resilience. Back in Norway, society is slowly noticing. Media outlets occasionally feature stories of these unions, highlighting how love found in the tropics brings new perspective to Scandinavian life. These couples become cultural ambassadors, proof that affection, humility, and laughter can coexist with independence and equality. Ultimately, this movement of the heart is not about escape. It's about discovery. Norwegian women are not leaving their homeland because they are unhappy. They are searching for emotional connection that complements the freedom they already possess. In Filipino men, they find partners who value care as much as confidence, tenderness as much as strength. In a world increasingly digital and divided, their story reminds everyone of something timeless, that love still begins with kindness, and kindness knows no borders. From the silent glow of Norway's northern lights to the vibrant sunsets of the Philippine Islands, these journeys form a quiet bridge of hope. They show that while cultures may differ, the longing to love and be loved is universal. And when two hearts, one from the Arctic cold, one from the tropical warmth, meet halfway, the result is something extraordinary, a union where independence meets compassion, and where both learn that true happiness is not found in solitude, but in shared humanity.